What is going on, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes are back with another MMA superstar. This time we get to talk to the new one championship flyweight champion, Demetrious Johnson, who of course holds a Grand Prix title over at one championship to go along with all the success, the Hall of Fame career he had at the UFC. What's up, Mighty Mouse? How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right. So can we talk about that thing we talked about before the show, or is that private?
I mean, if you want to,
Yeah.
So I think he's talking about, ladies and gentlemen, is that I think I might have staph in my armpit, so I'm gonna go get that taken care of ASAP.
Yeah, we were telling Demetrious, the late Kevin Randall, man, he had a brutal staph infection right in the armpit. So that's what we were discussing pre-interview.
Well, the hardest thing is that it's so it's an area that has friction the whole entire time. Right, it's not like if it's on your back, you know, don't wear a shirt for a while. But yeah, so I'm trying to not cause any friction to it. Maybe some ointment and some antibiotics, and start that course. And
that couldn't have been from the fight. You think it was actually from the travel?
Yeah, from the travel. I was carrying the belt. I had my backpack. You're traveling for pretty much 24 hours a day. Got home, showered, and that's what we're assuming it's from. Right, we're assuming it's from that. But at the same time, I think it probably started with something small, like a irritation, and then just it being the armpit, you know, a very moist, you know, bacteria lives on us all the fucking time. And so I think it was just an easy place for it to get infected. And now, you know, I thought it was a rash. So I put an ointment on that, and then now it turned into this. And so I'm going to take care of it, baby.
The new belt is beautiful, and you made a nice, funny joke about it when he put it on you and you kind of fell. Was that something that like you reacted to it in the moment, like, wow, this is a big belt? Or I'm sure you'd seen the belt during the week, but not until you realized, did you know the weight of it? And so you played the joke along there, or was that something you had been teasing all along?
No, it's something that it's a little bit of everything. When I first saw the Grand Prix belt and I realized how heavy that was, so I think the UFC belts are. Sorry about that. That was the pharmacy calling. The UFC belt's about 12 pounds. So with it being 12 pounds, the one championship belts are 25 pounds. So they're pretty damn heavy. I mean, as you notice, not one champion can wrap the belt around their waist, unless it's a heavyweight, right? Because they have the waist size. But it's pretty damn heavy. Like it's. Sometimes I'm like, this belt's too damn heavy.
Is it too much? Would you tell Chappie, like, take it easy, baby?
No. I mean, you know, make it big, but don't expect your boy traveling around the world with it. You know, it's like, even when I was, you know, I had out my UFC, but like, can you bring your belt? I'm like, I'm not traveling around the world because they get ruined, right? They can, you know, even though we have a beautiful Toomey case, but moving it left and right, taking it out of the case, setting it down, then this person hold it, then this person hold it. Like, I've seen belts like get destroyed that way. So for me, it's like 25 pounds carrying it around. It's like, ugh, I think we'll just put it in a box, and I'm like, it's in a box, and make a fake one to travel around and show people. But kind of takes away the essence of how beautiful the belt is and how heavy it is.
So let me bust your balls on this topic a little bit. I had read, as we're preparing for Demetrious Johnson, that you had this whole thing with 80 of your belts are in Vegas or something like that. So on the one hand, you're like, yeah, you know, I don't know if a lot of people want to hold it. It's prestigious. I love it. It means a lot to me. And on the other hand, you're like, well, where are the other 8? Like, that doesn't seem consistent.
Okay, here's the story. So I was I was in New York, and we're about to do the photo shoot where I had all my belts, and they were all there in the back. Imagine you, right? We're dragging basically like 11 belts, right? All these belts through New York in the ESP building, right? We're not carrying them. There's only 2 of us, right? Me and the PR guy. We're carrying them. And next thing you know, it's like, hey, we take a picture. And I was like, dude, there's no way I, myself, can get 11 belts. So basically 120 pounds of gold on the plane. I was like, you know, it's almost like somebody said, hey, man, here's $2 million in cash and ones. You're like, oh, shit. Oh, well, I guess, you know, even if you got a whole bunch of duffel bags, right? And it's just you're going to have to hire somebody, right?
No, but all that makes sense. But this was years ago. What I'm saying is, why haven't somehow you gotten the belts that you, on the one hand, said you care so much about? You don't like a lot of people.
I just don't know who do I talk to. I mean, I don't know where they're at, and Yeah, I mean, it's not like when you lose your fucking dog, you go out there and put lost dog, you know, put it on the, you know, telephone poles. Like, you know, it's something like you know, people asking, where's all your belts? I don't know. Last time I checked, it was in the UFC warehouse. That was in the story.
Wow. And this will just be okay, and unless they call you, they can just stay there. I mean, like,
I guess. Well, you guys live in Vegas. Why don't you guys go to the damn warehouse to get them?
I'll get them.
I'll go to Demetrious Johnson representative and go, okay, listen, I'm representing Demetrious Johnson. Where are these belts at?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, I don't know. I mean, but you want them, right?
Yeah, if I can have them, yeah, absolutely. But I'm not going to climb a mountain for them. You know, I mean, I got the three main ones. The one I won in 2012, and the one I tied the record, and one I beat the record, and I got my 2-1 championship belts. And I have all my amateur belts. So, you know, I mean, it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot of damn belts, man. Like,
man, these things are historical. Like, they should be like in your soul, in your heart. I remember Johnny Hendricks. He brought his to the studio because he lived in Vegas, and we covered him a lot just when he was coming out of Oklahoma State throughout the whole journey. And he was like you. He doesn't like too many people to hold it, but he was cool with us. You know, we said, can we hold it? And he goes, yeah. And I remember, Demetrious, I'm kid you not, a little tear came down. I was like, wow, like I felt like I'm holding history here, you know, and especially someone that we're kind of close to, because Johnny would come in and co-host for a couple hours and stuff like that. So I love historical things like that, you know, like belts, titles. I mean, Dan Anderson goes and I went to his gym, and we got to hold the
Pride or Dream
Kings or tournament, you know, that he won in 2000. That's open weight over at Pride. It's humongous. It's probably taller than goes, and but it's humongous, man. But I was like, I mean, that's like a relic that in our sport that not many people have seen or probably even taken a picture with or held, and he has it over at his gym.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's one of the things I love about the one championship belts is that no one in America, like, I mean, who else is a champion in America? Christian Lee, he's in Hawaii. Angela Lee, she's in Hawaii. And then you have Superbond is a champion. He's in Thailand. So I think, and then John Lineker, but he's in Florida. So I feel like on this side of the hemisphere, the Pacific Northwest, you know, from Vegas or even Arizona up, like there's no other person who has a one championship belt. So it's pretty dope. And then even when I won the World Grand Prix, I was all pissed. I was like, damn it. I was the first one, and now Stamp has one. And now I think another gentleman, I think he's over in Europe, he has one. So like, shit, they're starting to give out more of them. But, you know, to win them, it's very, very, very hard. So it's those ones. I think the Grand Prix is probably like my prize jewel because you have to go through a tournament in order to win it.
Prize jewel of one or your whole career?
I'll say my whole career growing up and watching it, like seeing Crow Cop, Josh Burnett, Vanderlei Silva, them going through the World Grand Prix, and it's not something that's very consistent. It's like once in a lifetime, right? Like if there was another Grand Prix, I'll probably jump in it. I'm like, shit, I don't know. I'm trying to see if I can win a tournament.
I had a wacky question for you since we're on the topic. I don't know what well, I guess one did the trade with UFC that involved you, but I just wondered when Bellator's Grand Prix came out in the bantamweight division, and did you ever maybe approach Chatria and go, hey, get me into that? Like, would one and Bellator work together? And how do you think you would have done the one that had Archuleta and Patchy Mix?
Sergio Gucci and Sergio. Sergio was in that one, right?
He got injured, so Archuleta stood in for him.
And then Ruffian Stout's in there too, right?
Yeah, Ruffian Stout's, Patchy Mix, Horiguchi.
Those guys are big, dude. I would like to think I would have done well, but those guys are legit. I mean, I fought Kyoto Horiguchi before. He was the ex-champion. Sergio, we fought in the UFC together. He fought him Cejudo. He's kind of coming to his own now. He's kind of almost hitting his prime. He's don't know how old he is now. He's probably like 27, 28, 29. Ruffian Stout, huge fan of his. He's got legit stand-up. He's pretty damn well rounded, long too, understands his distance and his reach. Yeah. Juan Lachureta, he's a very good grinder, well rounded. So, and then Patchy Mix, another big dude, tall, lanky, 135er. So I think I would have definitely had a lot of trouble with those guys. But obviously, I believe in my skill set. I believe what I bring to the table, and I think I would have done well. And, you know, and then with all that being said, I guess, you know, we'll never know.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Moraes, I guess, is a kind of, it has the body shape of some of the guys you just described, and you figured out that puzzle. So let's transition into that fight. The knee. I mean, it was a thing of beauty on a Friday night. Thank you, Juan, finally for giving us prime time over here. But on a Friday night, the knee, and I just remember going, wow, that's so poetic, because obviously knees did damage to you in the first fight. So when you lost and you were on, you know, on the hunt to get your title back, at some point in your head were you always like, and I'm going to get him back with a knee or something like that? Because it was the way you hit him with the right, and then it was like, you know, especially if you slow it down, it just looks like it's in your head like, here comes that knee, bitch. Here comes that knee. Here comes that knee, you know, or whatever. Not bitch. No disrespect to the former champ, but you know what I mean. And it looked like you were hunting him down with the knee stoppage, like really wanting that.
You know, I've always said in my career, I've never forced anything, right? I'm not forcing my arm bars. I'm not forcing, you know, knockouts. If it comes and it presents itself, then I'm gonna take advantage of it. And that was just a perfect opportunity for me to do that. You know, my movement was a lot better, you know, going into the fight, you know, me getting more settled and more comfortable, and then was able to capitalize on the right hand. And then as he was, you know, hurt and stumbling, I was able to keep my distance, line up my knee perfectly. And I knew the cage was, he was about to fall into the cage. So I was trying to time it just perfect. And, you know, each time I'm in training camp, you know, I put a lot of pressure and stress on myself when I spar, when I drill, not when I drill, because drilling is kind of easy. You should put the time and the grind and effort into it. But I've always tried for perfection. You know, when everybody says you're the greatest of all time, you're the pound best fighter in the world. For me, when people tell me that, I want to embody that. And what I mean by embody that is that if I was to throw in a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gi, you know, right now I'm only a brown belt, I want you to feel like, holy shit, like his ground game is legit. If I was just do straight Muay Thai, I'm like, wow, he's kind of got a very good base of Muay Thai. He got good sweep. He's got good knees, good elbows. If I was to box, same thing. Kickbox, same thing. Like my Dutch cross fighting, you know, 1, 2, 3, you know, 10, and then, you know, all that stuff. I wanted to be good at that. I don't want to just be called the greatest of all time just because what I've accomplished and the championship run I've gone on. I want to be like, you look at me, it's like, yeah, this guy he embodies the full blown martial arts, like mixed martial arts. He can do everything.
Demetrious, there's been cases before where fighters are 1-1, but because one has a finish over the other, they feel like it's not really 1-1, I finished you. In your case, it is kind of even, but do you feel like one fighter may have a little bit of advantage over the other? Do you feel like it's 1-1, or do you feel like you kind of got him a little bit more here?
No, it's 1-1. You know, like I said, he beat me the first time. I mean, you know, I ducked into the uppercut, and then, you know, I was trying to get up. He blasted me in the face with a knee, and then he, you know, gave me a 5-piece chicken meal on the ground, and that's all she wrote. And in this one, it was a good fight back and forth. You know, he was doing a good job controlling me on taking me down. And when he took me down, I was like, you know, I kind of know his ground game for the most part. But then after the first round, even in the first round, when I was, you know, doing damage to him on the ground and I cut him, like you know, in my mind, I realized I cut him. Like I hit him and I was like, ooh, cut him perfect right above the eyeball. And hopefully the blood will be pumping or dribble into his eyes so he'll be blind. Like I'm starting to think like that when I'm fighting. And then when we separated after the first round, I look over to the corner. I was like, oh, I'm busting him up from the bottom. I was like, and then for me, I was like, I feel fine. Like I am getting hit in the bottom, but it's not like something that's gonna like put my lights out, right? And I have great skincare, moisturize every single day. My wife is very good at my skincare regimen, so I don't get cut very easy. So I was totally fine being on the ground at that moment, right? Like, and the other thing is that after the fight, I'm like, my whole entire one championship career, I've been taken down, but it's never been from somebody doing a double leg shot. It's always been from somebody capitalizing on me kicking or me stumbling. Like I kick somebody and I stumble and I'm like, I'm kicking so much fucking higher. Everybody's like 5'9" now. So I'm kicking higher into their body and then they're able to catch my leg and run me over. Then I'm on my back, right? So that was good. But I realized I was busting him up from the bottom, and then as the fight went on, you know, he landed a couple good knees, you know, in that not north south, but the front choke. And it's just a different ball game. Like, I'm still getting used to it. Like, I've never been on the other receiving end of, you know, I'm being front choked and I'm able to get kneed in the head. It's a very, very unique. The knees to the ground is a very unique style that you have to be, you know, aware of. Like, even when I was on my back, I never played like this on my back and start hitting people. But it's like, how do you get up? Like, do you risk yourself going into a knee? So I'm still learning. I'm still getting better with that whole dynamic of the knees to the opponent on the ground. So yeah, but it was a great fight. And then I was able to land the right hand and line up that knee, and that's all she wrote.
Yeah, George brought up the trade earlier in the conversation, and that's actually a topic we had on one of our segments, the Spinning Back Click, a couple weeks ago. And you know, some made the argument, all right, well, who got the best of it? You know, what did Ben Askren do for the UFC? What did you do for one? And I think both people were pretty right in some of the things we said. I think I had to even make the argument, it's not so much what Ben Askren did himself, but kind of put Jorge Masvidal over, which the UFC made money off of Jorge Masvidal, right? So there's a lot of different things to look at. But what's your take? Obviously, I imagine you're going to say one got the best, but can you kind of maybe throw some things that we don't know that you feel was unique about this trade and how both sides benefited?
Yeah, I think everybody won, not just the organizations, but I think everybody, you know, Ben Askren, Jorge Masvidal, Leon Edwards, Kamaru Usman, myself. And when I say that we all won, we're all eating good now, is you think about it. So we look at the UFC standpoint, you know, when I was there, obviously I wasn't the high selling pay-per-view guy there. And I was also very dominant. So there was not an opportunity for somebody else to be able to make a name for himself. You know, then Triple C came in, Cringe did his thing. But then I leave, then you get Ben Askren. The reason why I said Ben Askren got a chance to eat is because Ben Askren always wanted to be able to compete in the UFC. He's always wanted that opportunity to do that. He got that opportunity. He won a couple, then he lost. And with his loss was the rise of Jorge Masvidal. And the rise of Jorge Masvidal, you know, the street Jesus going out baptizing people. You know, he fought Nate Diaz and he got the BMF title, which there hasn't been another title like that. And then he had his, you know, he gave Leon Edwards a 5-piece chicken meal in the back of the arena that kind of put eyeballs on Leon Edwards. And then now you have Kamaru Usman, who fought Jorge Masvidal, and now you know, Kamaru Usman sent Jorge Masvidal to the shadow realm, and then now you just have Kamaru Usman, who fought Leon Edwards, and Leon Edwards. Well, when Kamaru Usman fought Masvidal, I think that's where his elevation and his star power went through the roof, because everyone was talking about the BMF. Then, you know, now you have Kamaru Usman, who's super big and very, very popular, was the pound best fighter in the world. Now you have Leon Edwards, who just knocked him out. And now Leon Edwards is the king of welterweight division. And as for me, and for one championship, you know, they got one of the best fighters in the world. And for me to be able to do what I've done over there with the World Grand Prix, I had a loss of Adriano, which is good. See, as I'm in this part of my career, you know, fighting Adriano, I think that was the best thing for my career, right? Like, I lost to him. And for him, he beat me. He knocked me out. Nobody else has been able to do that. It elevated his stock. People starting to get to know who he is. And then for me, it put me in a place where I've never been before, right? Where it's like, oh, man, Demetrious Johnson got knocked out. He's lost before, but he's got knocked out. So how's he going to come back from that? And then I was so grateful that I was able to fight Rodtang after my title opportunity loss. And when I fought Rodtang, it put me in a different bracket. It Muay Thai and mixed martial arts. Won that fight, and then when they're like, hey, we're going to give you the opportunity to fight for the title again, I was like, perfect. You know, I was expecting to fight the number one contender, which was Kairat Akhmatov. But they're like, no, I'm going to give you a title shot. And I was like, oh, perfect, because they wanted a big fight. They wanted someone who's going to come and push the pace on Amazon Prime. And I was like, no, I don't care who you want me to fight. So I fought Adriano, and now that fight itself, I mean, Amazon, the numbers were great. One Championship's happy about it, and it was just a thing of beauty. So I think at the end of the day, everybody got the opportunity to eat and everybody's happy. And I think if it goes to decide like who's got the best fighters, you know, I think One Championship definitely won that ball game by far. Nothing against Ben Askren, but I'm 36. I don't know how old he is, but I'm still fucking going. They're still getting dividends from your boy here. I'm still putting the work in.
Good stuff. I like that breakdown. But let's clear something up. How many shots, not to relive one of your worst moments, but how many shots did Adriano get after the knee on you?
Probably 4 or 5.
Okay, so that's you did say a 5-piece chicken meal a second ago regarding that, right?
Something like that. Yeah. It just felt numb. Like I've been knocked out before, snowboarding, and I've been pushed off a roof, and those ones were like I was out. Like
you got pushed off a roof?
Yeah, I was a kid, and this asshole tricked me to go on the roof, and he pushed me off it, and I did a front flip, and next thing you know, 5 minutes later, I was like, "What happened?" He goes, "Dude, you fell off." I was like, "No, you fucking pushed me." I clearly remember me going like that. So I was a kid.
How did he trick you by going up there?
Huh?
How did he trick you by going up there?
I don't know. I think we're looking at something. I don't know. It was a long. I was like a kid. Kid. Like second.
You still friends with this guy?
No, God, no.
Because that's a great story. If he's sitting with his buddies watching, going, "Hey, I knocked that guy out once," and if they don't push him, he doesn't have to reveal that he was a puss and he actually pushed you. He can just go off that because he's not telling them all.
I don't even know if he's still alive, to be honest with you. A lot of people from my area didn't make it out of there. So, but yeah, so it felt different, right? Like when I got dropped there, I remember the uppercut landed, and I was like, "Oh shit, recover!" in my mind. And then next thing you know, the knee came. I was like, "Blah!" And then it was like, "Bop, bop, bop, bop," and then I was like, numb. And then Olivier came in, and he goes, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "God damn it." I was like, "I'm good, man. I'm good. Watch out." And then I went over there and said, "Hey, dude, good job." And he goes, "Absolutely, bro. Sorry." He goes, "I'm sorry I had to knock you out." And I was like, "It's all good, man. It's part of the job. It's what we get paid to do." And
what's your favorite drink, by the way?
What's up?
What's your favorite drink?
My favorite drink?
Yeah.
I think coming into like this, I had a spicy watermelon margarita this weekend. It was pretty phenomenal.
Okay. All right. So then, just a couple more here. The trilogy, should it be rushed, or can it marinate a little bit? Like, can you defend while Adriano maybe composes himself, or should he get a win? How do you think that gets built up the best so that everybody's tuned in for the trilogy?
It's whatever one championship wants to do. Honestly, like literally when I fought against Rodtang, and after I got done with that fight, I was totally content going back down the ladder. Obviously, different situation, right? For me and Adriano. So if they want to do the rematch against me and Adriano right away, I'm fine with that. Or if they want to give Adriano opportunity to fight somebody else, and I fight the #1 contender, that's totally fine. And it all depends on like the athlete. Like I feel like when I fought Adriano, I got knocked out, and that was in 2021. I feel like 2021. April. And then I basically took a full year off of competing, and I came back and fought Rodtang, got some good shots in there, mixed it up, got my feet wet again, and then it was like right back into the world title fight. So for me, how my story is written, how I took that path, I'm totally grateful. Everybody has their own path they want to take. For me, I'm at the point now in my career, I was like, one championship, you tell me what you want me to do. Because at the end of the day, you paid me to fight. And I'm just going to fight whoever you want me to fight. And that's, ever since I had that mindset, it's been so much better for me. Like when they called me to fight Rodtang, I was on the couch with my wife right here. And I'm like, "Hey, we want you to fight Rodtang." I'm like, okay, let's make it happen then. And that was it.
USA Today Sports has their rankings in the flyweight division. You're the #1 flyweight in the world now that you've beaten Adriano Moraes. You had slipped below the UFC guys that traded back and forth, Figueiredo and Moreno. You think that's fair?
That's up to you guys. Like I said, man, that's up to you guys. Like I said it before, do I think I can make 125? Yes, I believe I can. Would it be healthy to me? Absolutely not. Like I would have to do so much to make the weight, and it would not be enjoyable. So with me saying that, I would never make 125, right? Being 36 years old, trying to cut down that weight, it's just not, doesn't seem appealing to me. So for me, I see myself like next to those guys like Peter Yan, Aljamain Sterling, even though those guys get up to like 165. Like if I jumped in the scale, after the fight I weighed, and we had more than 24 hours to rehydrate, blow back up, whatever you want to call it. Like I don't know what I stepped in the cage at, but I stepped out of the cage at 138. Like they weigh us right after we get done fighting. So, and I'm sure the next day I weighed 136 too. So I don't get big between fights. Like if I weigh myself right now, and I had Wendy's, by the way, I had Wendy's Dave's double cheeseburger along with strawberry frosty. If I weigh myself right now, I'm probably like 139, 140, and I haven't been training. So I see myself as a 135 here in America. Like I wouldn't try. Like if somebody says, "Man, you should fight at 125," I'm like, I'm not going to do it. Like 36. I don't want my kidneys failing. I don't want that. I don't want those problems. So those guys, Brandon Moreno, Figueiredo, Kai France, they can have that.
Yeah. Well, we understand that you guys have the hydration system, but we still regard you as a flyweight.
Hey, that's cool. That's cool. Hey, different opinions, different perspective. For me, it's, if they were like, "Hey, can you make 125 right now?" I'm like, absolutely not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe we could make them hydrate. I don't know. By the way, before the career's done, and this isn't a shot at one championship, but before the career's done, would you like to fight one more time in the UFC, or do you feel like the chapter's closed and that's done?
I think the chapter's closed and done. Like a lot of people, I mean, if you ask a lot of people out there, Sergio Pettis, Roy McDonald, the list just goes on, Christina Cyborg. I mean, the UFC isn't all be all, right? Like me fighting over in one championship has been absolutely amazing. I'm loving every moment of it. The ups and downs, the traveling, experiencing the different dialects of language. That's one of the things I love is just being in there, and that we all come from different martial arts backgrounds. You have one of the best Muay Thai fighters in the world, the best kickboxer in the world. You have fucking Buchecha, an amazing grappler. And now he's trying his hand in mixed martial arts. And then you have Maki Nishimichi taking on Imanari, who the best grapplers. Like just to hear all the different dialects, and we all come from different backgrounds, and we all respect each other's backgrounds. Like, the Muay Thai guys, the grapplers. It's like just that big melting pot of martial arts is pretty dope. And it's just like, if you're an athlete, and I've been in America for 6-8 years competing, to be somewhere else and be the foreigner. We're all foreigners besides, the Thais and the guys who live over in Asia. It's something special and something cool. And that's one of the things I love about it. I think if I was to come back to, America and fight in the UFC, if I was to do that, it was just to have that connection between my coach and me one last time before I hang him up, where it's like, because right now, obviously Matt, he can't corner me. He can't even work with me when we're over in Asia. It's like we work together in America, and we put together a solid game plan. And then when we go over there, it's just me, my teammates, James and Tony, which they've done an amazing job keeping me sharp that week when I fight Adriano. And then it's basically I'm an amateur again. Matt sits outside the cage, can't say nothing, and just watches me fight. So it's kind of like, I think for me, imagine Kamaru Usman not having Trevor Whitman in his corner, or John Jones not having, not saying those guys wouldn't be able to handle themselves and fight, but you got to really have that strong connection with your teammates to keep you on the game plan, focus, and do what you need to do to get the job done.
Right. Yeah. No. And for those that don't know, his longtime coach Matt Hume, former fighter, longtime trainer Demetrious, is an executive with one championship. So yeah, that's probably the whole ethical thing of not being able to be the matchmaker or an executive, but also being in a corner. That's great that they do that, by the way. All right, last question here, Demetrious. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of flyweights?
God damn you. Well, I'm definitely, I don't know. It's hard. Like, are we talking about 125, right? We're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah. I mean, throw in you and Adriano as 35ers in flyweight over there. You guys are flyweights. You're the same as the 125. You guys just don't cut the water, so it's the same thing.
So okay, gotcha. Yeah, I'll definitely put. You see, this is me. Like it's hard for me because there's certain things that guys do well, but I'm gonna tell you my Mount Rushmore in general, okay? Because I like guys who do like. There's certain things I see guys, and I'm like, I'll definitely put. I'll put. God.
Well, start with you. Let's get that out of the way.
Oh, well, okay, I'll put myself up there, but I don't like putting myself on my mountain because even though it's my mountain, I own the mountain. So I don't have to put myself up there because everybody's like, who owns that mountain? I was like, I do. Why'd you up there? I don't need to be up there because I own that motherfucker. So I'm going to put myself there. I'll put, I'll put Adriano up there. I'll tell you guys why I'm having this why I'm saying this. I'll put Adriano up there. I'll put, who's this? Oh, I'll put Joseph Benavidez up there. I'll put, let me think. Adriano, Joseph Benavidez. Fuck. Let me think. I'm sorry, y'all make me do this, so I'm trying to think right now. I never really thought about flyweights. Oh, I'll put Henry Cejudo up there.
For every second that Demetrious took to say that, Henry's going to be tripping.
No, I mean, we just talked the other day. We talked last night.
Why did he take so long to say Triple C?
Because when I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about who can do it all, like who's shown and display that, right? Because for me, I like guys who go out there and just oppose their will, right? Like they just go out there and they just oppose their will. And so for me doing that, like saying this, right? Like, when I look at Gegard Mousasi, when I look at John Jones, when I look at, Daniel Cormier, and I look at, there's just so many good, Charles Oliveira. Like when I'm looking at all these guys, they come forward, they march, and they get in that battle, and they start exchanging, they get taken down, they're looking to armbar, they're looking to triangle, they're looking to elbow, they're looking to get back up, they take their opponent down, they're looking to pass guard, they're looking to submit, they're always pushing the pace. And so, when I look at Joseph Benavidez, he did that a lot. Like he would go out there and move with those overhand right and his kicks and wrestle. He has his guillotine and he would push. Adriano, he's very good, but he has a certain style that he goes about doing things where I'm like, put the fucking feet to the fire, which he does, but it's just different. And then when I think about Triple C, he would do the same thing, but now he's starting to become more calculated. Where I'm like, dude, like when we spar together, I'm like, dude, like it's fighting. Like shit's gonna. And we both respect each other, at the highest of the level. Where I'm like, dude, you're so good. Like you shouldn't worry about how close you are because when you're this close, you're putting pressure on me. And when you put pressure on somebody, that's when they make their mistake, right? But we both know, like, I'm a high volume fighter and he's a quality guy. And those are his words. He was like, you're a high volume, dude. Like, you have the gas tank and you love chaos. Me, I like to sit there. Don't Demetrious, I like to sit there and wait and pick my shots, make them count, and then I follow up. But, sometimes I got to check myself. I get emotional in there, man. So it's just.
That's a good accent. That's a good Cejudo impersonation.
Good shit.
I like it.
So yeah, that's kind of hard. I mean, every person deserves to be on the mountain, right? We all have special gifts that we approach the game with.
That was a great four. You have your four: Triple C, you, Benavidez, and Moraes. Did you feel like there was an honorable mention, or you're happy with those four?
I'm happy with those four. That's something I don't sit around thinking about, right? Like, you can ask me that in like 15 minutes. It could be totally different, right? Because it's something I've never thought about the flyweights. I've always thought about just in generalization of like the guys. Like people might say, well, Gegard Mousasi never won a belt. And I'm like, yeah, but dude, when I always enjoyed watching him fight. When he's on, he's like, wow, quick hands, great grappling.
Gegard won the middleweight belt at Bellator and the Strikeforce light heavyweight belt.
Yeah, and he also won the belt in Dream or Pride, depending on when it was.
Yeah, he had a belt there.
Yeah, when he was going to that tournament, I was like, oh, man, it's going to be sick when he fights Jacare. And when he fought him, he ended up knocking Jacare out with an up kick.
Right.
And when he hit him with the up kick, he dropped him. And once he fell, he hit him like 4 times, too. He was like, bop, 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 bop. And he's like, oh, he's done. He's like, okay. But just the way he looked over there, I was like, damn, man, he just looked good. And then he
beat Mark Hunt, too?
I think he beat Mark Hunt. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's an open weight fighter. Like, if you think about it, he's competed at middleweight, light heavyweight, heavyweight. He's also beaten, like you, he beat a highly decorated kickboxer or Muay Thai fighter as well in a Muay Thai fight. Gegard's very, very underrated, man. I'm glad you brought him up and gave him some love.
Exactly. So he's done it all where it's like, you know, like you said, a lot of people don't know that and seen that, but like I was there watching. I'm like, and I'll go back to the gym. I was like, why is he so good at striking? And Matt was like, because he's done all those things like you've done in your amateur days. Because I've done Muay Thai, I've done kickboxing, I've done shoot boxing, I've done just pure like jiu-jitsu tournaments, you know. And like I want to get back into doing just pure jiu-jitsu tournaments. But now that I'm the champion, I'm like, I think that's stuff post career, because if you go out there and tear your knee, you're not gonna get a check when you get that when you do that. So, but he did all that stuff, and that's one of the reasons why I put him on Mount Rushmore, because when he's on, he's on. Like that's the only thing the only downside I would say is like sometimes he's not on, which is, you know, it's just like any athlete, NFL, you know, football or basketball. Some guys show up and they're not on.
Yeah. Demetrious, thank you so much for all the time you gave us. I hope your armpit gets better quickly.
I'm taking it right now.
Can't wait for the trilogy. You and Adriano put on some battles, man, but this one was yours, and it was a thing of beauty. Again, prime time here in the United States. That was awesome. I know for you it was like breakfast time over there in Singapore, but for us it was a Friday night. We loved it, man. Thank you again. Hey,
thank you, and I can't wait for the next one. And at the end of the day, I'm just happy that we all can eat.
Let us know if you want us to be bounty hunters and get your belts.
You know what? Good luck, boys. Good luck. When we cut the interview, I'll tell you an idea I have. I think I know I can get them to you.
No, I'm guys. You guys are more worried about it than I am. Like I'm like thinking about I gotta cut up my next YouTube video. I gotta you know get back to Elden Ring and figure out how I'm gonna get this damn intellect up. That's what I'm more worried about. What's that, baby? My wife wants them, so that comes top priority. So I better get on that now.
Yeah. So like I said, I mean, we're actually gonna be. I'm gonna be down there for Tuesday Night Contender Series. So
there you go. Yeah, you know, Dana goes to us. Hey, Dana. Hey, I just had Mighty on the podcast or on the show, and you know where his belts are at? He goes, "Fuck, I don't know." And then I can open the door.
Yeah, we got to get those back. All right. Thanks again, man. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.